What is RV life in Japan really like? Alex and I decided to try our first ever van life experience, exploring the Japanese Alps in the Nagano region of Japan. Having never ever driven an RV and just learning how to drive on the left-hand side of the road, this was sure to create some unforgettable memories. We left Toyama by train, watching storms roll by as we made our way to Nagano. After picking up our bare bones, very tiny RV, we drove towards the mountain town of Hakuba, made famous during the 1998 Olympics. Our first stop was a private cooking class where we learned how to make okonomiyaki from scratch. Okonomiyaki is a savory Japanese pancake and it is oh so delicious. First, we had to prep all the ingredients, including mushrooms, carrots, cabbage, leeks, parsley, and bacon. Then we made a mixture of flour, yeast, and some spices and other yummy stuff. Once that was done, we assembled the okonomiyaki on the griddle, layering the flour mixture first, then adding the veggies and then the bacon. Bacon makes everything better, right? While we waited for the pancake to cook, we started to saute other vegetables to have on the side. Both under and cleared.
That's just your decision.
It's your style.
You have to decide which way you go.
Okay. Everybody ready?
はい、準備です。おー、せーの。
Okay.
できたー。イエーイ。
Then it was finally time to eat. Hi, Alex.
Hi.
What are we doing today?
We're in a bubble.
We're going to hike. Today we are on another hiking adventure, although because we've been sick, we are taking the easy route and we're taking a gondola up and a couple of lifts. I don't think they're all gondolas. I think there's a couple of ski lifts we take too to get past the hard part of the hike. And then we're going to hike about an hour up to a very pretty lookout, trying to be ahead of the rain that's going to come a little bit later. Well, I think we're about ready to take off, so this should be interesting. The last guy swung pretty hard, so let's see what we do. Hold on. Alex is going hands-free. Are we gonna go? 1, 2, 3. Almost landed. We're almost up to Happo Pond. It's been very, very misty and cloudy, but I have to say this weather is pretty nice in comparison to how hot and humid it's been the rest of the time that I've been in Japan. So it's quite a relief. Alex and I were talking about it'd be nice to even take a nap up here. It's so cool and refreshing. And we're getting a little shower from the mist. We've got about another kilometer to go to the pond. It's all been a very easy trail so far. It definitely going up, and we are at some elevation. I think we're around 7,000 feet. I'm gonna have to do the calculation when we get back down. After being sick, I'm definitely feeling it. Alex definitely feeling it in our lungs. So we're just taking it slow. We have nothing to rush off to today, so we're just enjoying our time up here. I don't know if we're going to be able to see all the peaks that are usually peeking out around the pond. You usually get this beautiful view of the mountains overlooking the lake. In fact, it's kind of called a mirror lake because you get that whole mirror reflection thing going on. And I don't think we're going to get that today, but I am just loving being outside and having some nice, cool weather to hike in. Well, we made it to the pond and it was beautiful. Still very cloudy up there, but you know what? We are loving this weather. It's nice and cool and refreshing, and just, I think, has really lifted our spirits. Of having been sick for the last 3-4 days. we both have still have a cough and have a little bit of congestion, and the altitude was a little tough on the way up, but just being able to be out here in some fresh air and having it be cooled down, I think is making us both feel a lot better today. So we are on our way back down, taking the lift back down, and then we're going to stop and have a little breakfast, some coffee, yay, because we haven't had coffee yet, and then the gondola back to the car. And I think we're going to go explore some of the Olympic sites that are here in the area from the 1998 Winter Olympics that were here in the Nagano area. In fact, we passed the start for the men's downhill race. Here's the start gate for the Olympics for one of the sports. No, it's not in. So it's kind of cool, a little bit of history, and a beautiful place. I mean, the mountains, even with the clouds covering, the mountains are just stunningly gorgeous. Yeah. If you get a chance to come here when you come to Japan, you should definitely visit the Japanese Alps. So we are at the ski jump park from the 1998 Olympics, and I'm getting ready to go up and actually see the top of the ski jumps. But even from down here, it's quite impressive. It gives you a whole new perspective on what the ski jumpers are doing when they are taking those jumps, because that is a long way. There's our RV right there. Pillows! Yay! Oh, we're so excited. That's what made last night kind of torturous. And they're only, whoops, they're 300 yen. It doesn't say on this one, but they are only 300 yen. Uh-oh. I don't feel like we need any kitchen stuff. Organizing. It's almost like the engine to this thing is not made to like go in mountains. How's your curry?
It's pretty good. It's got some good spice to it.
Japan really knows how to do fruit. These grapes are incredible. They're thick. They don't really taste like a grape. They taste like something kiwi, more like kiwi. That's what we determined last night. They taste more like kiwi than they do a grape. They are amazing. Granted, this tiny little thing of grapes was about $6 or $7. So fruit is very expensive here, but delicious. Good morning from our second morning in the RV. It is about 8 o'clock, and we've been sleeping pretty okay in the RV, but the residual cold has us both having major cough attacks in the middle of the night. So yeah, we're a little tired. Plus, I think yesterday we were still going on a lot of adrenaline, and I think today we're just like, we don't have a lot to do today, so we're gonna take it easy. So it is, yeah, it was a lazy morning getting going this morning. But the one exciting thing we're gonna go do today is go see the snow monkeys. But I thought after I get ready, maybe go brush my teeth, I might give you guys a little tour of our RV life here in Japan. So we drove up to the Snow Monkey Park, one of the big things on my list. And unfortunately, because there's been an uptick of COVID cases in Japan over the past week or so, they have closed the monkey park for a few days to help prevent the spread of COVID. So we are on to plan B, and we're gonna head off. There's some lakes close by, and there may be a summer festival happening at one of the lakes. So we're gonna cruise over there and see what we can find, and maybe even take a little dip in the lake, because I know I could use a little bath, even if it's a lake bath. So that's where we're headed. So no monkeys, but the monkeys probably wouldn't have been there anyway, is what I understand, because it has been so hot and they don't want to be in the hot springs when it's hot, just like the rest of us. So they're probably up at higher elevations and trying to keep cool too, just like all of us. So far today has been a little bit of a bust. The Snow Monkey Park was closed because of an uptick in COVID cases. And then the pond/lake that we were going to go to, that was supposed to be having a festival this weekend, they're really not having the festival because the pond doesn't have enough water, because it's a festival where they float these boats and have like all these fortunes and messages and stuff that they send out on the boats, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so it's like a spiritual festival that includes boats floating on the pond. Well, the pond doesn't have enough water, so the festival isn't happening. So we found ourselves at a nature conservancy up here in one of the national parks, and it's actually very lovely. It's very cool. We're about a little over 5,000 foot elevation, and the facilities are gorgeous. I mean, it looks really new, big museum, some stuff about the Olympics, as well as like the conservancy stuff. So that's been a pleasant surprise. And then we decided to take a little nature walk to the closest little lake here, and everything on a map looks flat. It ends up that the 1.6 kilometers to the lake is all downhill. So we are about ready to turn around and go back up a fairly steep hill back to our car. But the lake itself is gorgeous. Once we found a little spot where you could view it from. Most of the trail around it is back up in the trees, so you kind of have glimpses of the lake as you walk around it. But you know what? Staying in the shade today, it's all good with us. It's another hot one for sure. Welcome to our home away from home for the past few days. We've been rolling around in this beauty for the past 3 days. We spent 3 nights in her so far, and we have one more night to go, but I thought it was time to give you guys a tour of what we've been living in. As you know, if you've been following along in the vlogs, we've spent a lot of time in cities, did a little time in Toyama helping Alex move out of her apartment. So this was kind of a nice break from the city life to get up here and experience some of the mountain life here in Japan. This was sort of a crazy idea that I had. I'm going to blame it on the 2 channels, Kinging It and oh gosh, what are they called? Travel Beans. I think the Travel Beans. Anyway, both of them did RV trips around Japan earlier this year in the spring. And when Alex and I were planning this trip and we were talking about all the different places we wanted to go here in the Japanese Alps, and it was going to be a lot of moving around, a lot of buses, a lot of staying in one place for one night, getting on a bus, going somewhere else. And I was like, well, what if we rented an RV? So this is my crazy idea. This is a tiny little, I have no idea what type it is, but basically a tiny little, relatively normal Japanese RV setup. So let's go on in. Our front door, back door? I don't know what you would call it. Front door? Alex is being quiet behind the camera. She doesn't have a lot to say.
It's because I was holding back a cough.
So inside our door here, we do have the area where you take off your shoes. So we're going to take off our shoes, and then we've got these cute little cubbies that we store the shoes in. Boy, it's a lot of backwards. And then right inside the door, we have a kitchen area. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay. So we have our little kitchen area here. We did go ahead and buy a bunch of water, and because it has been so hot, we got some electrolyte Picari Sweat, which has been really nice to have. We picked up some ice at the 7-Eleven, and we have a really, really good cooler in here too that has kept everything not just cool, but actually frozen. So we turned it off last night to save a little bit of electricity. But tiny little kitchen here, which we haven't put much to use much because we've been eating a lot of convenience store food. We did, as you saw earlier in the vlog, we did that cooking class the first night that we were on the road here. So we've been eating a lot of the food we made in the cooking class. So that's been perfect. We've got water tanks down under here. And yeah, just generally we have a microwave. But in order to use the microwave, we are supposed to plug in, and we haven't found a place that we could actually plug in yet. So last night, to heat up our dinner, we turned the car on, and we did it in 30-second increments, waiting for the power to like charge back up in between each time that we were like heating up our dinner. So that was kind of interesting. And I'll take the camera from Alex and show you the rest of the area. So we have our living area back here. So in here we've got our bench seats and a table. And like I said, we've been living in it for 3 days. So this is kind of our normal living circumstances. I didn't pretty it up to make it Instagram worthy. I just wanted to show you guys around. So one thing that we didn't think about, definitely I did not think about when asking about renting the RV, was what the RV came with besides just the RV and, you know, the furniture and stuff. And basically it doesn't come with anything, which we did not find out until the night after we picked up the RV. When we got it, we were, it was kind of rush hour, and we were trying to get out of Nagano and get on the road. So we didn't really look around in the cabinets before we left the RV rental place. So when we got to where we were going and we started looking for like bed linens and cups and plates and stuff, well, there are none. So the first night that we slept, we made do with our packets of compression cube clothes as our pillows, and luckily it was warm enough that we really didn't miss having a blanket. So that was interesting, and luckily Alex brought 2 cups with her, so we've had those to drink out of, and the lady that we did the cooking class with gave us containers for the food, so we've been eating out of that. So we've kind of made do. It's definitely been interesting being in an RV, but not really having anything to use in the RV other than what we brought with us. So if you are planning on renting an RV anywhere in the world, definitely make sure you know what is included before you rent that RV. Probably everybody else knows to ask that. I'm just such a novice. This is my first time ever driving an RV around, or even thinking of renting an RV. So, you know, lots of learning that we're doing on this trip for sure. So this is our living space. Our bed is up here. We pull out the platform here, and then the cushions go down, and it actually makes a very nice size bed. It's probably close to a king size bed, definitely bigger than a queen size, but it is lots of space. Alex and I have lots of room up there, so that has not been an issue at all. We did go to what is basically the Japanese dollar store, Daiso, is that what it's called? Daiso, the day after our first night, and we did find a couple of $2 pillows and a towel that Alex has kind of been using as a blanket, and I had my airplane blanket. So we do have pillows and sort of blankets now. This is what we've been living in while we've been touring around up here in the Japanese Alps. I'll show you guys the lovely parking spot that we found last night that we stayed at, and are really dragging our tails to leave this morning because it is so pretty and shaded and cool. It's been very, very nice. So this is the pretty little spot that we stayed at last night, and it was super quiet. There's no lights because we're up in the woods. We're not exactly sure. It's definitely got some sort of shrine going on. Alex couldn't read the kanji, so we're not exactly sure on the details about this place, but it doesn't look like it gets used very much these days. And in fact, there's been a few people who've stopped by, and there's probably 2 other people who spent the night in the parking lot with us last night, but otherwise we had this gorgeous spot all to ourselves last night. It's just stunning. The water inside that pond is beautiful, but
We're pretty sure we're not supposed to go swimming in it, and that's the only thing that kept us from jumping in there because it's very clear and cool looking and so refreshing. Yeah, it was just a beautiful find. We got here about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and we just chilled for the rest of the afternoon. It's just kind of been a go, 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 and then being sick, and it's just been a lovely, lovely place to hang out. Reminds me of all of the camping trips when the kids were younger. It's so nice to be up here.
Finally, on our last day in the Japanese Alps, the snow monkeys showed up.
Hi.
It was crazy how they took over the road, and clearly the locals were used to it as they would just go zooming on by. I was so excited, and I could have stayed there watching those monkeys for hours, but it was time for us to head off onto our next adventure.